The D&D pantheon is really fascinating to me. So I'm currently setting up a D&D homebrew world set in a religious and mythological context. And for this, I have to decide what gods or anything like that are going to exist in this world. And with that, how patronage is going to work. And I think he does a good job of breaking down some of the lore in this video, but it was really fascinating to kind of see how religious and mythological D&D sort of just is. That said, though, he points out in this video how there are sort of different classes of divine beings with greater gods and lesser gods and quasi-deities and so on. How deities are sort of powered by the worship that they attain from people. Now, one of the issues of having all these different gods, at least in my homebrew world, is that I want to have a representation of monotheism in there. So how can I have that but make sure that the different classes and characters in the story have a different patron? My thought on this was that I need to change my idea of what it means to be divine. Because oftentimes in biblical and extra-biblical literature, divinity is not you have it or you don't. You are all of this or none of this. Typically, divinity works on a scale. You can be omnipotent, you can fail to lift 50 pounds, and you can be a lot of different things in between. If you want to think of biblical examples, think about Adam and Moses. They are sort of divine humans, or at least are channels for the divine. If we're thinking extra biblical literature, you can think about Metatron, as in some of the literature, he is seen as like a lesser god that's close to Yahweh. Although that often gets checked in his lore, he's still pretty high up there on the divinity scale. Enoch is also another good example. He actually becomes Metatron according to 3rd Enoch, but he's a divine priest in 2nd Enoch and the divine Messiah in 1st Enoch. Now, these figures are still nowhere close to the God of Israel in terms of the quality of divinity that they have, as well as other related attributes. But the point remains that they are divine in some way. And so, going back to this idea of the D&D pantheon and the patrons that we can have, I'm thinking figures like Lilith, Adam, Metatron, really any of the archangels, Anansi the spider, and so on can be these figures who are on that scale of divinity, but they're just not close to, say, the one above all. That the one above all really is truly the one above all. That way, we can have a maybe quasi-monotheism, a sort of loose monotheism, while still allowing there to be patrons that characters can pledge their allegiance to. All that said, let me know what you guys think about the D&D Pantheon and my thoughts in the comments, and make sure you follow me for more content on D&D as well as religion and mythology.